Hello and welcome to Movers and Shakers. I'm Ken Miller. Today I'm joined by Lansing Community and Economic Development Director Joshua Gentzler, brand new employee here with the City of Lansing. Josh, you are the new director of our department, part of which I am. You came on board in early March, and we're recording this in mid-March. What are some of your impressions so far of the Lansing community?
Well, I've been welcomed with open arms here with the employees and the council members. Looking forward to getting to know the residents a little bit more in depth, and it's been really good. I've been in the area for quite some time, and so my impression of Lansing as a city has always been pretty positive. But being able to get into the city, to be able to understand what's going on, how it's growing, what we can do to help spur some growth, has been really good.
Okay. All right. So you came to us from Leavenworth County. You were a planner in Leavenworth County. As a planner, what was your role there? What did you do?
Well, I was able to review current planning cases, did a little bit of work long-term in terms of looking at population growth, doing some projections, that type of thing. But it gave me the opportunity to be able to meet most of the major players in Leavenworth County, including in the city of Lansing, so that I've been able to establish relationships with them, working relationships to be able to help them get to where they need to be, want to be in development. And so did a lot of rezones and special use permit review, and then just interacting with the public.
It sounds like you had a built-in advantage because you kind of are familiar with what we do here because you've been in the area. You were able to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. As a person tasked with business attraction and retention, one of your requirements on the job, what is your plan of attack in Lansing when it comes to both of those portions of the job?
Well, I've come on board at a very exciting time for Lansing, I think. Over the past couple of years, there's been more development than I think is in the prior 20 years. And there's a lot of critical mass and momentum that's already built up that I get to jump in on and continue to work with the developers that are already in the area, developers that may be coming into the area that we've had conversations with currently or are in conversation with, and be able to work with them to collaborate on new projects, interesting projects that would help grow the city, bring more attention to the city, which will then just lead to more development. So it's a really good time to be in Lansing. I'm really excited for the future. There's a lot of projects that we're working on right now that I think the public is going to like, and residents are going to like, and will be beneficial to the city as a whole.
Real quickly, and we have gone over this with people who are in your position prior, certainly when Tim Vandal, our city administrator, comes here and speaks, but I think some folks have maybe a misconception or a misperception that we can't just call Red Lobster up and 3 weeks later they're going to locate here. It takes a lot more. Red Lobster or whoever has to be very completed with their research before they're even going to consider us. But I guess tamp down the expectations when it comes to the research part of it and how much has to happen before Company A locates here.
Well, they have like a buy box, right? They've got a lot of different criteria that they're looking at. They're looking at number of people within a 1 minute mile radius of driving, a 5 minute, a 10 minute, a 20, 30 minute, depending on the company. So they have a lot of work to do before they even start talking with the city. And there's only so much that we as the city can do. Like, we can provide a lot of data. We'll have lots of data on the website talking about what is going on in Lansing, what we can do, how we can help them with incentives, how we can collaborate on finding locations. And so there's a lot of work. They've got to be really specific, because obviously they don't want to walk into a situation, put a lot of money, time, effort into a location, a site, buy it, build a building, and then a year later the return on that investment is nothing because they have to close up shop.
Right.
So there's a lot that needs to go into that on their side. There's a lot that needs to go into it on our side. And so it's being able to find that location. And Lansing is growing. The area is growing, and so the opportunities are opening up. But now it's a matter of getting that information in front of people, saying, hey, this is how Lansing is growing. Let's work on something. Let's do something together. Let's do business together.
In that business of economic development, I think one of the best commodities to have is patience.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. It's a long process. Site selection is very difficult for businesses of all sizes, but it'll take sometimes years for a certain business to come into the area.
Sure. Okay. So you're also in charge of overseeing planning activities, and those are expected to pick up pace here this year and certainly continuing forward. So what does Lansing need to focus on in that area?
I think that we need to work on a vision for the future. There's this overarching governing document called the Comprehensive Plan, which at this point was adopted in 2014. So it's getting a little bit old, but it was a 2030 document, kind of looking out about 15 years. We need to look at the comprehensive plan, be able to figure out, I like to say, what the city wants to look like when they grow up, when it grows up. And so we need to figure out what Lansing wants to look like. Does Lansing want to, how do we want the community to connect with road networks? How the community wants to develop in terms of, single family and small multifamily or commercial development. We've got, right now we have approximately 200 acres of commercially zoned property in the city. Are we making the best use of that? How do we make the best use of that? Where do we want that? Where do we want industrial to be located? Can we locate industrial? Where do we want multifamily? Where do we want single family residential homes to go? All of those type of questions, we need to be able to have a vision, a goal in mind. If we don't have a goal, we're not going to be able to do. We'll look back and go, oh, maybe we wasted some time. Maybe we needed to do something a little bit different. So having that vision so that we can go back and say, this is what we want to do. And when somebody comes to us and says, listen, I want to put this type of development, we can say, that's a great fit for Lansing. That's exactly what we want. Or maybe we need to work on it a little bit more to try to get it to align more with our vision, the residents' vision, and not some outside entity's vision of what Lansing should be.
Sure. Last question, and I think you've kind of alluded to your answer on this, but and this is maybe a little more philosophical, but talk about your philosophy when it comes to community building. And I guess you kind of hit it with the comprehensive plan, but responsible economic growth and residential growth for that matter, how do we achieve that, I guess, in the least painful way and the most efficient way?
That is a hard question. It's a question that every planner, every economic development person has to wrestle with, especially once you're inside the city. And really, it's a lot of collaboration. I have my opinions, you have your opinions, the council has their opinions, the residents have their own, right? And then the development community, they've got their opinions. So being able to come together, work side by side, create public-private partnerships for certain commercial and industrial development, but being able to collaborate, to be able to communicate and understand the goals and the needs of each group in those conversations, and be able to work on a cohesive whole of a project, to be able to understand where we can grow the city. And I think it's hard. It's going to, as you were talking about earlier, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take many years, and I think Lansing is poised to do some good stuff. We've had a lot of positive conversations. A lot of development is coming into the area. We've got KCK, Kansas City, Kansas Community College, has said that they want to select Lansing as a location for one of their satellite campuses. We have a lot of conversations going on with Lansing Town Center right now. Like, how can we utilize and leverage the relationships the city already has with the development community in order to bring in new developers, new business owners, new residents. How can we do that? And so lot of conversations, a lot of collaboration, a lot of long-term thinking, I think.
Okay, all right, I've been speaking with new Community and Economic Development Director Joshua Gentzler. For Movers and Shakers, I'm Ken Miller.